Welcome to the Drexel App Lab's third Xcode 7 and Swift 2 screencast. Today, we will be working through the second stage of our Alien game project, which we started in our previous screencast. If you haven't started this project yet, please check out our second Swift screencast for instructions on how to begin. In our last screencast, we started our project, imported our images, and turned our spaceship picture into a button that disappears when the user taps on it. In this screencast, we will be adding to our existing project to include aliens and a game over message when our alien is tapped on. We will begin by adding an alien to our view, similarly to how we added our spaceship. We'll add a button, and then change the image attribute of this button to be our alien image. Then we will use the size inspector to resize and position it to position X 200, Y 150, and a width and height of 50 pixels. Then we will right-click the alien and drag the Touch Up Inside action into our code. We will name this function Alien Touched. Next, we'll create a label that will serve as our game over message. To do this, we will navigate to our object library and search for Label. We will click and drag a label into our view and rename it to say Game Over. Then we'll change our message to be big and red in color so it's easier for our user to see. For this, we will navigate to our Attributes Inspector. Then we will use the Size Inspector to set the size of the font to be about 20. We will set the color to be red. Now we must connect our Game Over label to our code so that it disappears and appears at the correct times. Like with the buttons we added, we will right-click or control-click on the label. You will notice that the actions that appear for our label differ from the ones that we saw for our buttons. In this case, we will choose New Referencing Outlet and drag this to our code. We will name this Game Over label. This code is declaring a variable, which is an item in code whose value can be changed. Anything that we do to Game Over label will affect the label in our view. The @IB_outlet tag that is generated for us signifies that this is an outlet for information in our view. To make the Game Over label functional, we want it to hide while the user is playing and only become visible when they lose. To do this, we will add to the viewDidLoad function in our assistant editor. The viewDidLoad function, as the name suggests, runs when the view loads on the user's iPhone screen. Any code put in this function will run at that time. We will add this line of code, GameOverLabel.Hidden equals true, to our viewDidLoad function. This sets the hidden attribute to true for the GameOver label, so that the label is hidden in our view when the game loads. An attribute is a specific setting for an object. Labels and other objects provided by Xcode come with preset attributes that you can change. Now we will create our GameOver function. We will write this function to make the label appear when the function is called. That way, whenever we want the GameOver label to appear, we can just call this one function. To begin, we will write on a new line, func GameOver, with a pair of parentheses, and one open curly brace. This defines our new function, which, as we can see by the empty parentheses, has no parameters. Func lets the code know that this is a function. Then, inside our function, we will type GameOverLabel.Hidden equals false. When we call GameOver, this code will run and make our GameOver label appear. Later, we can add other code to this function to run when we call GameOver. We want our GameOver function to run when the alien is tapped on. To make this occur, we will call our GameOver function in our Alien Touched function by typing GameOver in between the curly braces that follow the Alien Touched function declaration. Then we will run our app in Simulator to see our app run in its current state. Using Simulator is a great way to check that our app is functioning as we intended to. Sometimes, even if our code runs properly, we find that it doesn't respond to our actions in the way that we want it to. To check this, in Simulator, we will tap on our alien. The GameOver text should appear on our screen. What we have created here is an example of a concept in programming called a model view controller. A model view controller can be thought of in three parts. First is the model. This is the backend data for our app. In this case, our spaceship is our model. The next part of the model view controller is the view. The view is what our user can see and interact with, which in this case is the physical spaceship image you see on the screen during the game, and the black outer space background. Last is the controller. This is the code that connects our view to our model. In this case, the function shipTouched that we added is our controller. It connects the spaceship button that you see on screen into our code, allows us to control what happens when the user taps it, and controls whether or not we can see the spaceship image in the view. In our next screencast, we will learn how to write more of our own alien and spaceship code so that we can make our game more challenging. Thanks for watching and see you soon!